Next question is all about helping clients with anxiety. In particular, the question is, in cases where regression isn't effective, how would you approach easing anxiety? Will you do it with positive suggestions? This is a great question. So, how would I approach a client who has long-term anxiety? And how I would approach this particular client is the approach of however that client needs to be approached at that moment in time during our sessions. That is to be very brief and simple. And what this actually means is that this is first what I don't do. I won't prepare for anything. So no, positive suggestions definitely is not going to help a nervous client's nervous system that is stuck in an anxiety, more hypervigilant mode, right? A positive suggestion or thoughts or anything like that is not going to help an unconscious process that is happening in the background. So that will have a very, very minimal effect, and it's going to waste not only your time, but the client's time. So don't do that. And what I mean by actually just approaching based on what the client is really just attuning to what the client needs and expresses at that present moment. Inside our advanced conversational hypnosis sessions, we are all about utilization. So we use the principle of utilization, which means that whatever our client gives us at that moment in time is what we utilize. So a client can come into a session and we say, "Hey, what's the problem?" And they say, "Okay, I have long-term anxiety. I have so much anxiety, blah, 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 blah." They start talking about their problem, right? And it is up to us as the hypnotist and as the person helping this client to really investigate where this coming from. Like, what is their internal process like? What is their thinking process? What is the emotional responses? What are the main triggers? Where are they feeling that in your body, in their bodies? And for us who are trained regressionists, right? We have been trained, and this is not accurate at all. We have been trained to link each and everything to a primary memory or a memory from when they very, very first had it. I don't know about you, but I learned, for example, I learned how to do a handstand maybe 10 years ago. Do I know how to do it? No, because it's not the primary route. It's not the primary when they first started displaying that anxiety that can help them relieve it for the long term. It is through them experiencing that trigger at the present moment and knowing where a client is at the present moment so that they can be self-aware, they can start controlling and having agency towards whatever they're feeling inside at the present moment, that they start to relieve the problem that has kept them stuck. When the nervous system is Anxiety is a really simple one to think about. When the nervous system, when they're unconsciously feeling that high anxiety all the time, there is some sort of threat that that person is perceiving, right? It could be long-term chronic stress. It could be something that just built up over time and it has just not had the opportunity to come down. And so when in particular for anxiety, how I would approach the session is having the client talk about conversing, not just words talk. The In our conversational hypnosis, we actually talk, have conversation with the unconscious mind. But how it starts is have them experience that problem, of course, in a safe manner, so that when as they start to explore this problem, they start seeing the different perspectives as to why this alertness, this overly hypervigilant long-term anxiety is there. And then that way they can take the necessary actions. Some clients might need to just release it, right? Some clients might need to scream. Some clients might laugh it off. Some clients might be very, very teary. Whatever it is, it's just about client attunement. And so this is really how I would personally approach it. It's not about, I got to prepare this suggestion. It is about having that client come back in again and saying, "Hey, what is the problem? Where in your life are you feeling anxiety?" And having their attention focused on that anxiety through a conversation. That is one way that I would personally do it because I am trained in conversational hypnosis. But really, whatever you're trained in, even if it's traditional hypnosis, investigate the problem. What have you learned in your trainings that can help you investigate your client's problem at a deeper level? That is what I would focus on instead of applying the techniques. So what is that for you? What have you learned? Maybe time to brush up on that. Or if you're curious with the conversational hypnosis approach, definitely we can talk. And there's tons of videos here regarding this. And otherwise, the main principle is utilize what your clients are giving you and really attune to the client based on what they need at that present moment. And it might be different today if a client, you see this client today, and a few weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, if you see them again, it's going to be a different approach because we're all dynamic as humans, and really just remembering the fact that we need to be paying attention to what our client is focusing on now, instead of trying to get them to the past or trying to get them way too far in the future. It is about the present moment.